All right, today is another day, another episode. I think it's number three, um, Sunday, November 24, 2024. Almost the end of the year. We are experiencing darker days here in Belfast, a little bit colder. We experienced snow as well this week, but I like snow, so I really don't mind. But for today, I felt that in the last episode, there was something that I was missing that I wanted to share with you. So today, this part is sort of like a follow up of that video that I did last week. So imagine the last week was episode two. So today's imagine that is 2.5, but actually it's number three because I want to connect what has been said so far about neurodiversity, ADHD, but also how to cope with the symptoms, so to speak, of ADHD or these types of quote unquote misbehaviors or behaviors. And one of the things that I realized is that throughout my many years of life, because at some point in life I didn't know that I had this condition. So I've been coping since I remember when I was a teenager through doing many different things to cope with the struggle and the pain and all of these things that I have always had inside, but I didn't know what it was called, but I've been doing it. And all my friends know me for doing all the many artistic ways of approaching life, so to speak. So ADHD, I remember when I got the diagnosis and the doctor said to me, okay, so you have ADHD. Do you want me to prescribe some medication? Do you think you need it? Do you think it's necessary? Do you think it will help you? And at that point, I had already been going to different sessions at the university where there were other peers who had ADHD as well, and they shared the ways they also hope, and some of them share the use of different types of medication, right? And yes, most of them would share that it is very positive, and I agree that although medication is very positive for many people, I although the doctor said if you need medication, let me know. So in a sense, I thought it was not necessarily imposed, but I understand that there are moments in which the medication is imposed. But I purposely had this agency that I did not want to use any type of medical medicine or medication to cope with my quote unquote symptoms. So for me, it was more about what are the things that I can do within the arts that I have already been doing, but now I'm being more purposeful. And I remember clearly saying, well, instead of spending money on medicine or pills that I will pop in and perhaps will help me, then I invested some of my money in something that is called sound healing. And I always like sound, and I will go back to this in another episode in the future. So I bought Tibetan bowls, wind chimes, a gong, a crystal bowl, and different types of little things that I had. And I, for a job that I did, I got some money, and then I decided to invest it in sort of this way of using sound as a way to heal. And obviously, this is a very controversial thing to say that sound will heal you, but at least to me, this using these instruments would make me feel well and hopeful, I guess, about life. I don't know, but it worked. So then now circling back to now, it got me thinking. It looks like art in general has helped me to cope with these sort of symptoms, right? And in a sense, I've noticed that art has been beneficial for me as a person with ADHD in many different ways. And some of the readings that I have done about art therapy, how has art therapy helped people out there, but also how art therapy has helped me, or art has helped me as a therapeutic way of addressing many things. And in a sense, in general terms, art has helped me to focus my attention into something that is important and to pay attention to this particular thing that I wanted to do. Art in general has also helped me to relieve some of the stress and tensions that I've been having because anxiety or depression or all sorts of things. And it's also have been helping me to express my emotion through art. Last week I sort of shared a little bit about the poetry, and today I will share a little bit about the poetry as well. But also it has been in the sound experiences and music and painting and drawing and all of those sorts of things, because all of these different ways in which I have explored art helps me to center into the moment, for example, using my body and my thoughts and my ideas and my emotion into something, to craft something particularly, whether it's a poem or a song or a piece of painting, or creating a fanzine or a collage, etc. And according to research, it looks like the engaging in art helps you boost your serotonin. This is the brain chemical that helps you boost your mood, I guess, and help you have this calming effect and grounding effect that I have noticed when I engage in art. Just like it gets me into the zone, right? But more importantly, it's about the therapeutic way. That's what is called art therapy. Although I have never been in an art therapy session, but I have used the tenets of art therapy. I have friends who have worked in art therapy, and they help me and they sort of guide me through different ways of engaging different types of art that I can do at home at any time. And that's what I've been doing for the past 30 plus years of my life. Um, but also it helps me to explore the creative mind, right? Like to explore the possibilities of what is out there. And as a researcher, most recently, and I will share this obviously later, I have been able to combine that creativity part with the research part, and I have research examples that I will show you in another video. But at this point in time, I have been able to merge that creative part that I have done for so many years to express my ADHD mind and my profession, my research, into these two combined into what is called arts-based research. But in general, poetry within the realm of art therapy has been a healing experience because it allows me to intensely focus on language and develop that creativity. And one of the important things about art therapy, but also poetry, because I want to follow up from last week, is this idea of experimenting with words and experimenting with layouts and experimenting with how this sounds and how my erratic mind comes back and forth. Because remember, the part of the ADHD is not necessarily external about fidgeting, but it's maybe a fidgeted mind. And I think I mentioned last time also how um, I used to go to cafes, put out I mean, I still do it, but not necessarily recently, but for a while, go to cafes, take out my notebook and start writing whatever's coming through my mind, and then translate those ideas into actual poems. And then all of this has been an exploration, an experimentation of these different aspects of my mind into the written world, right? The words, and I have also used, now I will show you in a minute how I have also expanded from poetry itself to spoken word, and I have done it in the past in Chicago, in Toronto, and I did it once here in Belfast as well to be able to recite the poems in an experimental way. I did it in the past. I was invited to a festival in Toronto, and I did this experimental way of sound, a mix of between sound art and spoken word. I use a pedal with many echoes, and the echoes reverberate. And I will show you in a minute. And then it's a mirror. The poetry and experimental poetry is a mirror of my mind, and it's a mirror of this universe that you see here. It's a mirror of how the mind goes back and forth, up and down in different directions. And it's a perfect example of what I am explaining to you today. So in a sense, instead of medication, I purposely chose art as a way to invest in my own healing and processing of diagnosis or condition, so to speak. So art therapy as a therapeutic technique, it's a way to use art to help me to express and resolve those emotions and thoughts and ideas that I always have, and has been like an effective quote unquote treatment for what I have, right? And to express again, to focus my attention, to regulate my emotions, to control the impulses or die hyperactivity and restlessness that is not expressed through the hands and the body movement, is through the mind, through the words and through the sounds, to express myself, to help me with my self-confidence, problem solving, and frustrations sometimes about life in general. So poetry specifically has helped me um, to recognize those thoughts and those emotions in sort of an structured manner, but also to play around in an unstructured manner, moving beyond the standard canon of what poetry should be. And I have been to many workshops, I have been to many festivals and present my work. And there are ways in which poetry is pretty much anything that you want to do. And that's how poetry and ADHD, it allows me to help myself to get a sense of the world, and how poetry fit or mirrors the mind, as I was telling you, as a way to express my own feelings and more emotions, to make sense of the world. And in the end, it's a coping mechanism. So in a minute, I will share with you a few of the things that I'm telling you as a way to poetry within the art therapy helps me to express those feelings and emotions in a non-organized manner, because remember, I have a disorder. So the poetry and the sounds and everything that you will see in a minute, it's a way to express this disorder, to challenge the canon and the structure in this organized manner that where we in theory we are supposed to be doing. So I will share with you my band camp of a spoken word, which is the I create the poetry on paper, and then I record myself reading different types of poetry using these experimental ways. So I'm gonna probably show you the first ones, one in the middle, and one the most recent ones, which more recent ones for probably a couple years ago, because I don't have time much to do this, but you will see it. So bear with me to see if I can share with you this website. Let's see. So this is my website, which you can come at any time, just see Ortega Spoken Word Band Camp, right? And here are, as you can see, I'm experimenting with the layout, the colors, try to be creative with every album or every piece. It has a particular color code, even my photo right here. Um, and everything. So I'm gonna share with you the first one, which is the very first one I did. Let's see what we get. When was this done? Like 2015. So it's gonna be 9 years when I did the first one. And this one is called SSNN. I don't remember what the SS and N means at this point, but I believe, look, it says first attempt to do a spoken word. Here I'm reading three poems in Spanish, and they were originally published in a Colombian fanzine called Malpensantes. So here this is not my own poetry, but me engaging into speaking or aloud these poems, right? Let's see what this one said, and then we move to the other one in a second.
Cucarachas en el corazón, 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 cucarachas en el cucarachas en el cucarachas en el cucarachas en el se alimentan de mi paciencia, 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 hasta lo más profundo, hasta lo más profundo de 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 lo más probando mis pensamientos, probando mis pensamientos, probando mis pensamientos, envenenando.
So notice how I'm reading this in Spanish, but then there has some echoes and reverberations, and this is a mirror of my brain. And notice also have light closed caption. This is a little app that I have to read me when people are coming in or I'm watching videos, etc. So imagine all of these universes are a reflection of my neurodivergent mind, right? So that's the first one attempt that I did, me reading somebody else's work. But let's see another one that I have. Let's do how about this one? You're here. I'm not sure if yes, I think this is 2017, and these are poems that I created. Let's listen to the first one really quick.
¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está el knowledge that you promised me? 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 The light after the darkness, the light after the darkness, the light after the darkness. You betrayed me. You betrayed me. You betrayed me. The only knowledge that I've got, the only knowledge that I've got, the only knowledge is my selfie. Is my selfie. Is my selfie.
And this is a famous poem that I wrote, which is Donde está, which is where are you? Where is the knowledge that I have been built? And this is a bilingual poem. As you can see, there's the echoes, but also trickling in the sound, but also the languages that I have. So just, as you can imagine, it's acknowledging the linguistic repertoire that I have. And I'm gonna share with you the most recent one because I have these two experimental poetry series 1 and 2, and the very last one that I did. There are other that I have, but I haven't been able to upload them. This is the last one, 2021. It was like 3-4 years during the pandemic, I believe. So let's see what this is. This is excerpts from works of different poems that I am reading. So in a sense, this spoken word is both about me, but also about others. So it's either me reading my own poems or me reading somebody else's poem. So this is a 9-minute piece, but I'm not going to play it. I'm going to play a few seconds.
Poem A. Poem A. Poem A. Poem A. Poem the first to kiss is definitively a vibrant client across a radical chief.
So see here, and now I remember this one. So I'm moving from reading my own poems, reading other people's poems. And now in this particular experimental one, I am introducing sound art using synthesizer, right? And this is because like I said in the beginning, I'm using art therapy to explore and experiment different ways of sound and words and in different ways. So this is just one example of the many things. Feel free to go into this website and explore more. I will be putting up some of this work because I haven't been able to do so. So I want to stop sharing because I want to share the books and then I want to call it a day today. So these were the spoken word that I use to experiment and exercise my creativity and my functions as well. But I want to share with you the different I um, I have written my own poetry, and I'm going to read with you today a couple of my poems from three different books that I have done. So the first book that I'm going to share with you is called Anthology One, which I think it compiles most of the poems that I created in the past until like 2010 or something like that. And then I will read a few of them, explain a little bit about this first book that I created like 10 copies and sell them and gave them away to friends, and that's it. But that was my sort of my the way to explore, trying to figure it out and come up with, can I create a book? Can I publish a book? So number one, the anthology was supposed to be unintended chapbook, meaning like it was not necessarily the intention to create a chapbook within the poetry thing, but more like an experiment of what I could do. And then the image, the design that you would see was designed by a friend of mine that I paid to her to create this particular item that sort of compiles the background of my poems. Here it is. I'm gonna try to read to you. Here's an attempt to unpublish the poems I have badly written in the past years between 2013 and 2013 and 2018. So it's like what 10 years ago. So here is what I call experimental poetry and random thoughts, exercise on composition using non-standard variations of the language. Electra Spectra is my friend who lives in Spain right now. Shout out to her for this work, and send an email to this. Here is my experimental. This is when I was in Colombia slash Canada. And this is the table of contents. And I wanted to show you this one because this is where I experiment with words and languages as well. So we have I am yo soy, which is in Spanish and English. And here is I'm experimenting with the words asphalt, beggars. And I think this one it's about homelessness, um, but also playing with this, the asfalto, a little bit of Spanish and English. Or here the son of bothering me, trying to play a little bit about the aesthetics of things, social justice over here, here playing how it sounds in English. Like it's snow coop, snow coop, snow cap, snow. I don't remember what this is. A snow cap. Have some interludes and some of Spanish and English as well. Here already talking about plurality of things, right? So let's see. Just so yeah, I'm just gonna guide you through how I'm experimenting here with capital letters as well, different ways of here expressing different ways, different types of fonts using italics, etc. Shorter poems, longer poems, and see, here's the thing: because of my ADHD, I cannot focus on longer pieces. Most of my pieces are very short because of that inattention. I guess that's part of the deficit of the attention here. And then my friend keeps giving me these symbols, and then I put them here in little interludes. And I do want to read the plurality one because actually it relates to my current work in the pluriversality of beings and the pluriversal applied linguistics for those who have been following my work. I want to read the I think it's the last one. Let me double check. On the phone. Donde estás was the one that you heard earlier today, only 7. Plurality. Here is the one that I want to read to you. No more deadlines. No more new moves. No more resets. No more, no more, no more, no more, no more, no more tears, 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 no more tears, tears, tears. So that's the plurality of beings. And examples about my mental health issues as well, and how we wrap up this book in 2018, etc., etc., etc. But I'm gonna close this one because I want to show you the second one. Hopefully it's gonna show up in a minute. This is not the second one. This is the second one. What is the second one? This is the second one. And the second one is Awakening, El Despertar. So I like this one. And a friend of mine, Dartul, did the graphics for this one. As some of you, I am a fan of metal music, so he is within the metal music scene, and he was able to create this one for me as an idea of awakening after the pandemic, after too much personal struggle, facing darkness, mental health issues, and depression, and so much. So again, poetry has been this great healer therapy for me, right? And then this is supposed to be the book that sort of the other end, the end of that particular dark side of me for a long time. I'm moving into trying to wake up, and this is after that 2019 here in Canada, and table of contents again, playing with words in Spanish and in English. um I will read one in a minute. I like Brown Means Cafe is my favorite one. But again, playing with words here and there, sometimes sounds, sometimes see, as you can see here, the highlights as well of the bold words as well, sounds like sh here. So it's a lot of play around things, even using emoticons over here, emoticons over here. More of my friends interludes similar to the previous word that I did, mixing Spanish and English here, some Spanish over here as well, more work here, playing around numbers, and I like these numbers a lot, playing around positioning of the words left or right or center. So imagine that all of these words that I've been trying to use through art is all of that um, deficit of attention, focusing into these particular aspects of the poetry and the alternative ways of doing things or different ways of pushing the boundaries of what I mean to do this, right? I feel like I want to read Brown Means Cafe because I think you would really like it. El Despertar is more like the end here, see? Human or anti-human. I was playing around these ideas as well. Um, Playing with PTSD, like here's something about PTSD as well, the circle of life, alegría, which is, I mean, this is about awakening and moving away from the dark side of life. So I'm gonna read Brown because I think that's probably my favorite of this particular one. Here, this one. I'm gonna read it for you because I really like it. Let me see. I like it. Brown means cafe. Brown means cafe and café means coffee. I love coffee, black coffee from the land que me vio nacer. Yes, you all know the little brown, little looking dude. Yes, I'm a Latino, Latinx, or whatever S. But what you don't know is that I was born, burnt out of the ashes of violence, struggle, death, and the misery of others. In my veins corre el dolor de la maldad, la ignorancia, and the exploitation of all the corrupted countries from the global north and south. South is where I am heading when I ride my bicycle and I see all the homeless people in the streets of TO. Yes, because I am Latino, Latinx, or whatever S. I have an accent, but I don't care because I care about others. Where are you really from? The white dude asks every time I go to the coffee shop or the hipster dive bar. I answer, of course I have an accent. I live in Colombia with an U, not Colombia, for almost 20 plus years. There is where I pick up the accent. But I don't care because if I fake my accent, I would sound fake. Not like you who have a fake life full of fake dreams stolen from the land you live today. My fellow Latinx have traveled thousands of miles or should I say kilometers, to suffer the snow, the poutine, the curling, the hockey, the Blue Jays, and the Raptors, to get a job as cleaners with high degrees. They are engineers, doctors, nurses, accountants. And you, yes, you only see an accent in a brown body. I'd rather recommend you go ahead and get your brownie. Take your coffee to go and pretend you care, because that is how white privilege looks, sounds, and behaves. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't see race. I don't see colors. That is what you say. But here I am. I am brown. I'm a Latino, Latinx, or whatever S. So I love this poem a lot because it's sort of like a reflection of who I am, but also you can see the many imperfections of the poem in itself, which is who I am. There is a lot of imperfections for poetry purists or poets or poetry orthodoxy, in which they want to see things perfectly. But I don't mind, because this is who I am, the imperfection, right? But I want to share with you the last but not least, the most recent album or poetry book that was released this year at the beginning 2024. So this one is Expanding Beyond Madness. And here is where I explore the idea beyond the previous album or beyond the previous book, El Despertar, which is moving away from darkness. And here I am. This particular year, I'm focusing more on ADHD, mental health issues, but the word madness, so expanding beyond madness. So I asked the AI to produce me a piece of art this time around. I didn't ask my friend, but AI. And this one is AI. You will see a few things about AI as well. So here it's like me imagining a little bit like Jesus sort of expanding into this universe beyond madness. In a way, I'm telling myself and readers that madness is not necessarily bad, but we have to start looking beyond of what it means. And here I created these poems between the last couple of years here in Belfast. And I guess this one is an example of doing things more properly in terms of poetry. But I think in the introduction, and you can read it here, the poems in this chapbook were written pre, during, and post-COVID 2021 pandemic. And this is a very intimate, as you can see here, experimental avant-garde poetry based on random thoughts of pain, love, politics, justice, social justice, despair, and success. So this work has been an exercise in composing using non-standard variations in my linguistic repertoire, and something that might hurt the eyes of the purists, as I said earlier. And the process, here is the thing, because now I'm moving into the AI technology, right? The process of this work was done in this way by utilizing an artificial intelligence application to generate an image based on an already created poem, or to create an image and then reflect it on what the image evoked to create a fresh new poem. So it's two-way process. I created a poem, then I asked the AI technology to create an image based on the poem that I created, or the opposite. I ask AI to create an image, and then I will write a poem based on that image. So it's like a two-way of doing things, right? And this was a very organic and fluid process of imagining and wording what has been provoked. For the consistency of the editing process, then images are provided after the poem. So you will see really quick, this is the poem, for example, what the hell? And then you provide the image, what did AI technology created with what the hell? Elitist artists, and then the image about what elitist artist is. Then we have gift, what the image is about a gift, and so on. I'm a badger, and then here is a badger into the forest. What else? Beggar. Like this one is my favorite from this one. Here is the beggar. Instantes. I think I'm gonna read Instantes in a minute. I think Instantes is one of my favorites because it reminds me of someone. Insidious mental corporation. So see the topic of mental health, madness, and disability is here. And also because I think I was highly influenced by a partner that I had who was an expert or who is an expert on mental health issues related to madness and all of these things, the divine hunger, performance, gruesome permanence. I like this particular book. It's already sold out. Um, this one, see, you can scan this and you can hear the poem that it has been made by produced from text to speech using AI. And I like this beautiful work. Actually, the images are generated pretty well as well. This one is also in relation to the plurality that I mentioned earlier, because this is what I'm moving to the idea of the pluriverse as well. The work that I've been doing for a while now. And I forgot what was the one that I wanted to recite for you. And then we call it a day. There's another one about beggars. It's look, I've been very in tune with homelessness because when I was in Toronto, I saw different ones. And this is me now. This is how AI has portrayed me for a while and some notes. But I wanted to see what is the one that I wanted to share with you today. I think it's Instantes. Yeah. And I'm gonna read this one because this reminds me of the partner that I was with when I live in Toronto. More like we have a mad relation, I guess I would say. Instantes. Did you say I peed on my pants or I peed myself? This is what attracted me the most. You. Are you? You. Are you so unique and feral? Your presence looks into my eyes, and I see your profound sight that pierces my soul from within. Your very well shaped and rounded lilac lips, your thick eyebrows with attitude reminded me of Frida, she and your flight for freedom. Frida has gained her wings, you have gained your stings. But you have survived at your own choice as you carry the message with a raspy voice. The same voice that makes my ears quiver with a slight rapid motion. Excuse me, I did not put on my lotion as I was getting ready for some emotion. From music to art to cats to freaks, you are a freak. But a cute freak in my eyes of madness with no retail value. Your name and attitude come from the confines of the Roman Empire, yet coniferous trees and shrubs describe the second half of you. You, look at me. I said, look at me. Look at me in the eye because today you made my day, my yesterday, and my everyday. All right, so, and I'm going to stop sharing because that's the end of the section about poetry and art or art therapy. As you can see in this video, today I have exchanged with you that instead of seeking medicalization for my ADHD, I use art therapy as a way to heal, as a way to express my emotion, my feelings through art, particularly through poetry and the creation of different ways of addressing poetry. In the next episodes, I will continue doing this route about art versus medicalization, or and how art in terms of music and sound, but also in terms of drawing and painting has helped me a lot. All right, that's me for today. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye.